Welcome back to my channel, Keep It Frank Life, and today I am reviewing a film called All Is Fine in '89. This is a film that was not at all on my radar. I had no really intentions of ever seeking this movie out. It just happened to land on my lap. I saw it on Prime Video last night, and it honestly had a really deep, profound impact in my soul, and I've been carrying it the entire day. So that's why I thought I'm gonna go ahead and review it. I did a little background on this film, and it's written and directed by Matthew Lupis, and his brother Adam stars in the film. They're a brother duo that pretty much put this movie from ground up. So they did everything. And when you think about something like that, a brother duo who don't have really big investors from Hollywood, it's a very indie film. And then you watch the movie and you can tell it's low budget and you can tell it's very indie. There's still such magic and something special about it. And that's why I wanted to talk about it. First, I want to start with the title. All Is Fine in '89 is a fantastic title. I'm absolutely in love with that title. It's catchy and it sounds like a great title to a song, to like a Taylor Swift song, for example. It just really hits and it gets you in that vibe of what the film is, right? But it's also a very ironic title because, as you will come to find out when you watch the film, not everything at all is fine with the characters in the film. It's not your typical teenager film like from the 1980s, even though this film takes place in the 80s. When I think teen movies in the 80s, we think, 16 Candles, Breakfast Club, we think John Hughes. This one to me feels different, and I will later in this review get into the movies that it reminds me of and what I feel, what movies influence this one. So we'll get onto that later. But for now, I just want to tell you what the movie kind of is about. This movie simply records a day in the life of several teenagers and teachers as they prep for the last field party of the decade, and sadly it ends in tragedy in more ways than one. I think a perfect way to understand and talk about this film is by starting with a quote from Roger Ebert, an idol of mine. And he once said that cinema is an empathy machine. He believed that cinema has the ability to help us connect, understand all people from different walks of life. And I truly believe that as well. And then there's this other film critic called Valerie Calfrin who expanded on that quote. And she said, "Movies indeed are empathy machines, but they are also therapy. As much as they open our minds to new experiences, sometimes we need their help to restore us, to tap into those places we're otherwise not ready to go." I cannot think of any film that I've watched in recent memory that is a better example than what they just said in those quotes. What this movie does so brilliant, they show you the day of several characters in high school, lets them live their lives the way you and I would. And then it's up to us to empathize with them and understand them and make our own reflections on what we felt from what they are going through. It doesn't offer explanation, it doesn't offer solutions or any theories or any insight into the psyches of these characters. It's just up to us to connect with them. Once I watched it, I don't know why, there's something about it very nostalgic that it put me in a place of like a melancholic state, that it just made me think hard on my life, my experience as a teenager, things I thought I had let go already. It was just a beautiful watch, and it really made me understand that everybody in life has a different path, goes through different things, and we shouldn't judge a book by its cover. And that's what the movie does really well. Teen movies from the 80s, they had clear stereotypes and cliches of who the jock is, the bully, the geek, the outcast, and all those characters are very much present in All Is Fine in '89, but it doesn't put them in a box. It lets you watch them and connect with them. So this is a film that's gonna really make you feel emotional and make you reflect. And I don't know about you, but I like a movie that does that because I like to sometimes sit with my emotions, understand why the film made me have those emotions. And this film, if you're like me, it's really going to bring up some things, but I really appreciate that. That's what movies should do. They should be an experience that make you think and feel. So there's several films that I wonder if the filmmakers were influenced by. If I ever meet the director and the writer, I would love to just ask him, hey, like, did you make this film with these other ones in mind? Because I can feel the essence of those films here. One of them is Dazed and Confused. And in Dazed and Confused, it's just a day in the life of those characters, and it's not really telling a story. It's just us watching them on their last day of school. It kind of immerses you into that era and into their lives. And you're not really reacting to the film, you're experiencing and living the film as it's being shown to you. And that's how I felt watching All Is Fine in '89. And this film also reminds me a lot of Lupis from 1986 with Corey Haim. I love the way in Lupis how the characters were portrayed as very innocent and hopeful, and they were in that phase of their lives right before they go on into adulthood, and they are not corrupted or jaded yet by life. And in All Is Fine in '89, that's exactly the phase that these characters are in, except that this movie does have some tragic things that happen that does set them in that path of being just jaded for the rest of their lives, or it really does affect them. And it's a hard pill to swallow of an ending. But, you know, sometimes life has an unhappy ending and it doesn't have any deep significance. It's just the way that it is. And it also reminded me of Sofia Coppola's The Virgin Suicides and Gus Van Sant's Elephant, because those films did something really well that I kind of mentioned earlier, which is that they don't give you an explanation for the tragic ending of those films. It doesn't explain why it happened. It doesn't pretend to know why it happened either. And it doesn't give you any insight into the psyche of the characters for you to feel, I know exactly why they did it. No, it might give you hints that you might think you know, but it's not trying to explain. It's just letting you watch, and then you can reflect upon it later. And there's one thing that at first I was really not liking, and I thought I was gonna have trouble getting over, was the acting. The actors come across as not good actors. I take that back. I don't know if these are professional actors or if maybe they were actors taken out from the street. I don't know how it worked, but the performances sometimes seem so real and so grounded and so awkward that you're like, there's no way these are professional actors. But the more I kept watching the film, the more I realized this is brilliant acting, because it's making the film feel so realistic and so authentic. You felt the awkwardness of these teenagers in the situations that they were in. And it just made you fall in love with them even more because they felt so real. So to the actors of the film, you guys did a great job, and I really appreciate the realness that was a part of your performance. So that is my review of All Is Fine in '89. It's playing right now in Prime Video and Apple TV and TUBI. Please make sure to go watch this film. I really do believe that you guys will enjoy the film, and all of you will have a different reaction and experience than what I had. That's the point of the film. We are all going to take away something different, and that's the beauty of it. Before you leave, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel and click on the thumbs up if you like this video. I will see you next time.